EDG game, 100 Thieves kind of put themselves in, they dug their own grave kind of, because they drafted Zoe Jarvan. We talked about it already, but if you watch that game back, they were making so many defensive plays on the map and they weren't able to be aggressive. Now we're going to see a true game of what 100 Thieves are made of.
Yeah, and now both teams have had, hopefully, a bit of a better read of the meta and what they are comfortable on. And immediately we see that Graves is taken off the table.
Yeah, Graves, something that Someday played, I believe, this Worlds. And what we see is this mid lane trade-off. Ryze, LeBlanc, Sylas, TF. These 4 champions are just cycling around. But Kana's Jace, Kana's Graves are already going to be taken away. So 100 Thieves on blue side, just covering their blue side top lane picks up against T1, who can always last pick top.
And it's really interesting the things that you've pointed out in draft on blue side specifically, because the way that 100 Thieves treats Someday is a lot more of a weak side, almost tank player to help, set up fights. And he's not someone like Kana who are looking to go into more of a carry matchup. I do also want to point out the Gwen for Kana, that there might be a Gwen angle here. He's an excellent Gwen player, so I'm looking to see if T1 go for that as well.
Yeah, definitely. And first pick will be going over to 100 Thieves. Blue side, I think in group stage has a 59% win rate. Has been struggling today though, so that's probably changed the later we go for the next round. Robin, last ban coming out from T1. It's going to be Lee Sin. Expected first pick, of course, 400 Thieves. Now it's up to them. Mid lane, jungle could be first picks. Could even prioritize an AD carry. Lucian Nami's up. And that's going to be a Lucian straight away, as I said.
Banking on that lane pressure once again for 100 Thieves.
And we expect MF to match that perhaps, or Aphelios lanes to match that. We'll see what Gumayushi opts into, or Draven into Lucian could be something that they want to look into. With Yuumi being down, on red side, of course, you can counter-pick support, so they can do AD jungle here, counter-pick support on 3, but then that leaves you in a hole where if 100 Thieves blind pick a solo lane, you have to make a choice. So Aphelios Thresh here wouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, I like the Aphelios Thresh. I also think that Leona is just the strongest support with the Yuumi off the table, especially. So, and we're going to go TF.
Yeah.
I love that for T1, actually, just because of all of the reasons that we talked about with Faker and Abbedagge, where they're not going to push this mid lane, right? We're not going to see Abbedagge. They typically don't play for him to dominate mid, so Faker shouldn't have as much pushback when he's leaving that lane.
Also, quicker way to Herald, Emily.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You can collapse on Herald that much quicker.
But we will have to see kind of something matching in terms of that global presence.
What will they go for mid though? They're hovering Kiana right now, and they're going to go for some AP mid. They must do with the AD jungle. I'm looking at Sylas. I'm looking at Zoe for Abbedagge specifically to match up into that TF, but Nami going to get picked up for the lane itself. And now this is where the issues come in. Yes, you can match LeBlanc into TF, but this is what's been happening all day long, all worlds long, is now jungle is now such a high contention point. You pick a solo lane, I have to match you. You pick a support, I have to match you. And now both junglers start to realize, well, I need some setup. You know, TF loves setup junglers. Kiana, Tadon are the junglers I'm looking at for them. And for 100 Thieves, maybe things like Trundle and Olaf will be taken away.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at a Ghostblade jungler for Owner, just especially with the Lulu lock-in, right? We've seen these junglers do so well with Yuumi and the sustain and speed that she brings. However, I still like Enchanter supports, not necessarily even for the bot lane, but for a carry jungler.
Yeah, and for the team fights that ensue, I just want to call out that Abbedagge did pick his LeBlanc versus Faker in that matchup, which they both know very well, but of course it's always a bit special.
Oh yeah, it is indeed. So we've talked about what's next for both teams. It's jungle, and we're obviously both being banned out, but just like Emily brought up, top lane blind pick for 100 Thieves can get counted, right? Kana is a strong side top lane player. We've seen him on things like Lucian, Jace. He's a resource heavy player. Gwen could be something that they look into. But if you have TF on your team, you want to play for side lane. Aphelios Lulu will scale into the late game. Great, you can use TF defensively to cover them, but playing for a strong side top is something that they're going to have to do. So counter pick top is extremely valuable, but for now, it's about getting the strongest jungler.
And I really like the Viego ban, not only because it's a huge comfort pick for closer, but also because, we saw that 100 Thieves and then the Chinese teams had this Viego read that they brought to the table that other teams didn't. So I really like that ban from T1, and then the Kiana as well banned out. They hovered it earlier, and then Xin Zhao for Owner.
I really wonder what AD jungles here. There's Zed, there's Trundle, there's Olaf. These are the AD jungles we're kind of looking at, unless I've skipped over one. But T1, you expect definitely picking jungle.
Okay.
That's locked in.
Is that a Poppy's flex?
Poppy flex jungle? I was going to say Olaf would be great here, but no.
now they can just get Trundle themselves. The
Yeah.
LeBlanc Trundle, not a super strong mid-jungle 2v2. In the early stages, it's fine. Obviously, Trundle becomes more of a tank, and you don't have as great setup as Lee Sin LeBlanc, for example. But Kindred is another AD jungler, of course, that would do well into Poppy. If this is a Poppy jungle, it could get exploited pretty heavily if Closer has some kind of pick, but obviously they can flex it. And it looks like 100 Thieves gonna go for Renekton top.
I love it. This has just been turned completely on its head.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what they end up picking for jungle now for Closer, just because, like I pointed out, like obviously they're gonna play heavily for bot 2v2, but Closer is such a massive part of this team's success, and he does so well on these carry champions.
And if this Poppy is going jungle, I wonder what counter Kana has for top lane. You could go for Gwen, you could go for Gnar in a way into Renekton. Renekton obviously nerf, doesn't have as great setup. And they're playing double AD jungle top on the top side. So Poppy top is actually not that bad either in this situation. If you want to pick like Kindred for yourself now into Trundle, which is a fantastic matchup. So this blind pick from Poppy actually giving them a lot of value.
It's very interesting
What a
also.
fun draft. Oh my
The way
gosh.
we've gone down kind of the rabbit hole of the junglers getting banned out and then the compositions, and it does look like it will be going to the jungle.
Gives them a little bit more AP, the Kennen. Gives them a lot of team fight as well. But yeah, T1.
Wow.
Poppy jungle playing with a TF and a team fighting top lane. It's a little bit all over the place. I can see how it's going to come together a little bit with the Yordle comp. Gives them a Yordle buff from the Lulu, Poppy, and Kennen. But we'll see what happens, because Kennen's going to go into team fights with Poppy next to him, and Aphidos, Lulu are kiting back.
But Emily, what do you think about 100 Thieves comp? Have they given you what you asked for?
I mean, they've given themselves what they're comfortable with. So I think that in and of itself should give them confidence. Again, I think this is a very tall order to take out T1.
True.
I did pick T1 in this matchup for anyone that was wondering. But I do think, again, like they've given themselves the tools that they would want to see success and that they're comfortable with.
Yeah, and I think that when you look at both drafts, T1 will have top push.
Yep.
100 Thieves will have bot push, but mid push will be contested. TF can contest the wave if he wants with Corrupting Pot and E-Start and push in the LeBlanc, but the LeBlanc has more kill pressure. So it's all going to be about mid, as we talked about on the desk, of course. Whoever can get the push there can move to either side first.
Yeah, we still have a little bit of time, but I love that it's played out this way with the drafty inventiveness and the fact that the onus will come down to the mid laners once again.
Yeah, and if you cast your minds back to T1 versus HLE, I think Game 5, Kana would played 5 games of Kennen in a row, but Game 5, he played Kennen into a melee champ. I'm not sure if it was Renekton, but what happened was owner path top, and he zoned him off 3 wave stacks, and he got a 40 to 50 CS lead in the first 10 minutes. Can they do it again?
Can they do it again?
Let's
see.
see.
Let's head over to our casters.
Thank you very much. We've got the last game of the day. The LPL went 4-0 today. The LCK so far is 2-1. The LEC sadly winless. The LCS also winless on the day. 100 Thieves would be the only team west of the Atlantic to pull up a win.
We're running on fumes. We just need just a crumb of hopium here, Freak. Give me anything. It's going to be an exciting game. I do really like the jungle matchup here for Closer. Being able to have Trundle, you know, that's going to make things a lot more difficult for Owner, especially later on in the game. Predator versus Phase Rush is pretty interesting stuff, but yeah, we'll have to see how it goes.
Let us know, by the way, what you think about this game. Do you have any hopium, or are you an EU fan and you want to see us down in the flames with you guys? I accept either way. Let us know. Verizon 5G All Chat will bring your hot takes up on air.
And I think both compositions looking pretty interesting. Like the analyst desk said, it was fun, but
Double exhaust for T1 bot lane. That is not something you see every day. And that, like, this is interesting. So I'm going to act as though this was intentional and just like think about it from there. You know, it could be theoretically a misclick or whatever. But because a lot of ADs are taking exhaust now and the support takes heal. But in this case, you know, if you think Lucian is going to have cleanse and you think that like double exhaust, that you want to play it defensively anyway because you are a Aphelios Lulu, you're looking more to scale. Lucian goes aggressive, you exhaust him, he cleanses it, you have an instant second exhaust. Like that seems like that can be pretty valuable. Also going to get value very easily on Renekton as well as the LeBlanc. So it does kind of seem pretty interesting. I do think in a full all-in, not having a heal there at all could be pretty rough to deal with, no ignite as well. So I want to see how that goes, but I was also kind of surprised by the Someday pick. Like Renekton is very nerfed now. and we haven't been seeing a lot of it. It is like supreme comfort for someday, so I think they're just kind of defaulting to comfort in what was, you know, a blind pick situation for him, but it does seem like it could be a really difficult matchup.
I'm just really curious to see where like 100 Thieves find their openings on the map, right? Because I do feel like they need to get ahead early. I do feel like there's a lot on closer to, like, you know, maybe go up top side, use a pillar, blow a flash, try to repeat gank. Because the longer this game goes, I actually really like what T1 have drafted together. They have like so much like disengage and like peel and just keeping the Aphelios safe. And that's Gumayushi's Aphelios, so I think it's pretty scary.
Yeah, definitely. I just always know anytime you are behind and you don't have engage, you just lose all the tools to have any agency on the map. And it's like, well, we can walk at Dragon that they're already taking. It gets tough. Now, T1 have a very good early game. Could expect them to do pretty well and be ahead, but otherwise it's kind of in flanks, right? It's up to Kana. Quick interjection, T1 are the team who paused, have not been told the reason just yet, but by the way, they are the cause of it so far. One thing I want to bring up, though, because you talked about bot lane real quick, I vehemently dislike Electrocute Nami. It makes sense. You know, you eat Illusion, he puts the shots off, Electrocute pops. It feels very good, but the damage difference compared to Aerie is not very high, and the cooldown substantially worse. And in a Lulu lane, you're not bursting them anyway. You're not one-shotting a Lulu with exhaust. So it's not like, oh, well, there's this window where it works. Like, you're going to grind this lane out if anything. So just take the cooldown that has like 1/3 the cooldown, that can shield, that can work reliably, and it's just a better keystone.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. Like, Aerie obviously having the defensive component as well. Like, I kind of just see it as like very all in for you're looking for these burst kills. You're looking to hit some sort of CC, you know, 100 to 0 someone on that type of play. Obviously, Electrocute plus Mandate plus PTA plus the buff as well for Lucian getting buffed up by an Enchanter. So you're hoping to kind of just snowball all of these procs on top and maybe find some sort of a very quick burst kill. The only person who can kind of survive, I think, that type of play really is going to be the Poppy, and that's going to be made more difficult for Owner by the fact that Trundle's there. But I'm going to be interested to see what the reason for the pause is. I wouldn't be shocked if it was accidental to take double exhaust in the bot lane. It's not something you ever really see, and generally, yes, there is some thought to like, you're going to layer the exhaust or whatever, but it's not something that's very common.
Yeah, not very likely on that one. And you know, with the fact we've kind of hit on bot lane matchups, we've hit on top lane champs a little bit. I think the only thing really left is, again, what's going to happen in the jungle. We saw the Poppy go phase rush. I think the few times we've seen Poppy over in the LPL was almost always Predator and looking for like more aggressive plays. I know we've seen like Hail of Blades even come out a few times in solo queue.
The phase rush is very much it's a Trundle specific thing. When you're dealing with the Trundle pillar, you know, for that jungle matchup specifically. So if you're running into, this is something we saw a little bit in LCS and I've talked to some pros about. If you feel like you're in a disadvantageous jungle matchup and you show up to Scuttle, well, phase rush makes it so you can never really lose in the 1v1. You always have the option to retreat. And because the Trundle pillar slow is pretty impactful there. So I think it's kind of just like a tech choice about that. I will say I'm pretty surprised to see Predator Trundle. You know, generally we see, like we saw a lot of PTA against tanky teams. We used to see Conqueror and things like that. But Predator is going to amp up his gank potential, is going to allow him to get into lanes, you know, find things like lane ganks, which Trundle is less popular with.
We saw it from someone else at Worlds. I want to say it was Wei from RNG, and it looked pretty good. I was casting it up on day one, and yeah, you like zoom at somebody. Like they are not, like you are getting the pillar off. It's going to hit somebody, and that can look pretty spicy. So here comes the bot lane fight. And again, Aerie would have done something here in this one. Instead, we're not getting a whole ton done right now. But they are, of course, trying to scrap back and forth. Gumayushi's going to have a little bit of lifesteal thanks to the red gun that you always start with. These guys are clearly battling back and forth as Guhi tries to hit the W, and Keria does something similar with help picks.
Yeah, I really like how much they were fighting over that ward at level 1. Both supports had sweeper, so that was their one ward really that they have, unless someone else came down and dropped that at the level 1. But having side brush control is so important for enchanters because it allows you to just step in, land an auto plus a Q, land an auto plus a W if you're the Nami, you know, poke away, and really just kind of maintaining that side brush control is so critical for this matchup. You know, I do expect Nami to be favored in the support matchup with the additional sustain, but if you give the push over to T1, well, it's much more difficult to play it out.
Sidestep in the cube right there. Want to point out, Owner went for Red Raptors Wolves. The early pathing was spotted. He was on a ward clearing Raptors, so they know he skipped Krugs. They know he went bottom side. And this aggressive ward actually going to look pretty good as they're going to spot Closer in his clear. They see he's at 12 CS and blast punting over. Gumayushi taking some decent damage as Abbedagge also fighting Faker. Chain's going to land with a level lead. That's decent damage. Faker 200.
Yeah, and I think just heavy trading across the board really does favor 100 Thieves, who again wants to look for these more volatile lanes. They do have really strong early trades coming out.
Could be a 3v3 on bot.
Carrier not going to be in range to help just yet. Word comes down. Owner going to take the first half of the queue and going to get the shield now as well. FBI is exhausted. FBI has to flash back to safety. The follow-through could be there, and it's first blood. Owner grabs it. Ignited, but survives out of the turret.
And I just love that we saw exactly what Azale was talking about with the exhaust coming out. Doesn't matter if you have that cleanse, you're still able to keep him down. And T1 feeling really good coming out ahead in that 3v3.
Well, that's why you have to play those fights really slowly. If you are going to play against double exhaust as a Lucian, if you dash in, you can't really get out once the exhausts are coming in to be layered. That is a huge win for T1, not only because they got the kill, but because there's so much farm being denied from FBI. He has no buy. His buy is a refillable and a pink ward, and this is supposed to be an aggressive, a dominant lane. We saw them play it against DFM. They got way ahead. And now you're almost just permanently stuck on the back foot unless they can get someone down there to get them a kill.
Yeah, and I believe there was another team who played out this exact lane matchup, and I think it was Gamwon. I really liked what T1 did. It's very similar that Aphelios and Lulu actually are able to get the pile level 1 with the range advantage and the trading that they do have. Bring your jungle down. They do quite well in this 3v3. We saw the double exhaust do so much work, and it's like play around the one window where this bottom lane does come out ahead, because once level 2, once level 3 comes out, that is where Nami and Lucian are able to start having advantageous trades.
And I think it's just that situation of they didn't expect Owner to be there. They knew that Closer's coming down, so they're going in aggressively. Unfortunately, Owner is the one who was winning out in the trades against Closer. He pushes him back.
I mean, that's just so silly because they saw him skip Krugs on the clear. They know how fast his clear is. They know where he's going to be, you know, beyond bottom scuttle. This was information they entirely had. So that is, to me, full misplays and a lot of things going wrong now for T1 in the early game. A full 1,100 gold lead to T1. And right now, based on how the group is going, this is the battle. These are the teams fighting for the second spot out of the group. EDG's 3-0. Detonation Focus be 0-3. This is the fight for that second spot in quarterfinals, and right now T1 getting the better of it.
I mean, T1 are definitely the favorites coming into this, and top lane looking like it's going to be pretty tough there for Someday. The wave, I believe, was pushing away from when we last panned back to it, but it looks like Kana is going to try to shove this in. I want to see if Closer will try to get up here and where he's going to look to attack next. I mean, their next play, I think, becomes very, very important when you're falling this far behind in the early game. T1 known for their early game, how dominant it was in the LCK. Their ability to snowball those games is where largely a lot of their wins came from.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like T1 are positioned decently well for that. Faker will be level 6 soon, can look to use a Destiny. I'm interested to see what Closer will do before that to, you know, be able to find some momentum for themselves. We can see he's pathing down towards this bottom lane. There are no exhausts up yet. Carries will be up soon. No flash for Gumayushi, but still gonna opt into not looking for that one. Funnily enough, Owner is also back on this side of the map.
A couple of defensive wards are going to spot that Owner is on the way down, so okay, he's going to clear these ones out. Closer waiting in the fog of war, waiting for Krugs to spawn. Going to hit those on spawn, both level 5, by the way, for the junglers here. Owner going to see this, though, and is aware of what's happening. Now, not close to 6 for Closer, barely 5, to be honest, but is able to get some gold, and the Owner knocks down a control ward, puts one of his own. Survival, level 6 now for both top laners. Not going to be a big all-in fight just yet. Of course, both having the ultimates available. If health bars get too low, Kana could try to force that one.
Yeah, the ultimate not going to be super threatening before the buy there from Kana. You know, no AP to really amp it up, so not really worried about getting 100-0'd or anything like that for Someday, but pretty late bases, honestly, from them on that top side, and Kana, you know, getting the better of it is up a significant amount of farm. We'll see how much Someday can catch as it does get pushed into him.
I mean, honestly, Kana's winning the lane. He's up 15 CS right now, and you don't want to let up that pressure. You're going to force the Renekton to keep bleeding CS as it goes, so you're kind of happy to say, all right, look, once you flinch, sure, right, I'll shove the wave in and maybe get to walk back to lane, and now I have TP advantage. Good luck winning bot lane when I can Kennen TP, so seems to be happy for Kana to keep this one as it is. As FBI and Hu, he still try to lick their wounds and survive down the bottom lane. 10 CS different, but the wave is pushing towards Gumayushi. That said, he's going to clear it out, wants to keep it under turret. Already has one turret plate taken, and being that his buy is 650 gold better, wants to stay in the lane with the advantage here as well.
I do like T1's strat overall so far, right? You're leaving top lane in an isolated matchup where you're already winning. Even if no action happens in the bot lane, I like that Owner's continuously pathing down there. If you prevent things from happening, you have this Aphelios and Lulu scaling up. Now Faker getting another reset as well, maybe can try and look to influence the map if he so chooses. But I definitely feel like 100 Thieves are the ones who are supposed to be in the driver's seat, who are supposed to be looking for these aggressive plays to happen. They have the Lucian, they have the LeBlanc, they have the Renekton, these champions who do have more bursts and want to get ahead earlier on in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would be less concerned about the someday deficit if it was the only deficit, because he was obviously the blind pick here, and he has been in the isolated 1v1 there against Kana, who had the Kennen as the answer, but the bot lane is just such a problem. FBI dying that early, losing sums, not having a buy means they're playing out, 8 minutes in here, and he has no ability to play aggressive, right? So it's allowing Gumayusi to get past these early levels. It's allowing Keria to get past those weaker early levels where you would expect the Nami and the Lucian kind of have some dominance post level 3 with the additional sustain that the Nami brings. But instead, has not been the case, and T1 up towards top side.
Yeah.
Looking for this Herald.
It looks really good. I mean, this is a great power spike to be on Berserker's Great Doom Quiver. This is really outstanding, and so feels like this is a 5-on-5. They will cleanly win, but Closer's still walking up. Smites are upgraded, but only available for Owner. So Closer won't have the ability to steal it away, but still gonna walk up, puts the pillar down, looks for the fight, maybe. Again, gonna be in Smite range, gonna be claimed easily, and now TF gets the vision. Decides if they want to fight or not. 100 Thieves contesting without Smite is a bit foolish. Knockup comes on the 2, forcing a flash away from 1. I'm not sure in what world 100 Thieves find themselves winning that fight, being that they are down in gold. Why bring your AD carry?
Yeah, just overall everything was just better there for T1. The item spikes that they were on. Kana also got off his reset at the last second. Very close for Gumayusi. And in the end, who he having to burn his flash.
I mean, especially because somebody hadn't even based, right?
Yeah.
So you're not going to team fight with a Doran Shield Renekton who hasn't gone back to base when Kana did get the reset. So really didn't make any sense there from 100 Thieves trying to look for that type of play, but now trying to push in here, trying to be a little bit more aggressive because they have TP advantage. Someday held his TP, he walked back to lane, whereas Kana based and TP'd back to try to secure that Herald fight.
A big thing as well, right? We see right now 100 Thieves bot lane is pushed in. Is Abadaga might be able to find it.
Second ult comes in, but a sidestep figure. It's away from the chain, and that might be all the CC they needed as Closer unable to get in the range for anything else. Predator still on cooldowns, nothing to do but clear the mid wave. You can look at the gold lead, 2,000 to T1, and that's waiting for 500 gold from Rift Herald Crash. So that will grow further down the line.
And that's still, again, taking into account like more item advantages that are to come out with more resets coming through. I do see the 100 Thieves did get a River Ward down, so now if T1's bot lane does push out, they can utilize that someday TP advantage that Azel talked about and maybe get something going from there. But the pace has been pretty good so far from T1. That 2K gold lead's going to be nice. And again, they're the ones who feel fine kind of waiting it out. They have the hyper-scaling AD carry. They have the Poppy, who will have some resistances later on. And I mean, we've all seen what Kennen can do throughout this tournament. Honestly, his burst has surprised me every single time.
Yeah. I mean, especially everyone's thinking of the Nuguri game, obviously, going full glass cannon, killing perks over and over again. And it looks like Owner is going to go for a more aggressive build. It might be Divine Sunder or something kind of like along those lines here. It won't just be pure tank. I'm not sure if that is a nod to the Trundle on the other team, or if he just prefers this more aggressive build, because Poppy on a damaged Mythic, everyone thinks of her as a tank, but you do actually have a significant amount of burst against some of these squishier members. If you can get on top of someone like the Nami, Poppy can 100-0 you.
Ward's good enough to spot that Owner has jumped back out of the wave, so someday he's able to last it under turret. Otherwise, would have had to really respect the fact that a TF Poppy dive would have just killed the man. So clears the wave as well as he can. You can see how much threat Kana can put towards him. Yeah, that's a Sork Shoes diff right there. No MR for someday means he's taking a lot of damage from the Kennen combos. The alternator adding a fair bit as well. So yes, the gold lead still growing, 2,100 now to T1, and we still await the Herald charge, which can get a lot done. One turret play taken in the bottom lane, and nearly the second here as well, so could well be that, as Poppy is heading down to the bottom side. And you can see FBI doesn't even pop Keria's shield. He's that far behind in gold.
I also like just overall what T1 did with that last sequence, right? You go up towards the top side, we hit on the TV advantage for someday, try and put a bit more pressure on him, zone him off the wave. They get first move, Nami did follow, and they get down towards bot side where they can set this one up.
I wonder if Faker will move as well. I mean, he does have the ulti available, but they're just trying to stack this wave. They're trying to keep them off it so they can build it up, push it in here. It is 100 Thieves actually on the roam. Abadaga moving down river with Closer, so could potentially be a 4v4 if Faker wants to join.
And we're going to have someday take a battle with Kana, maybe try to get him away from teleporting, but big damage. Kana could nearly tower dive him. Tidal Wave comes in. There's going to be a fight in the bottom side. No knockups really to be had. Gumayusi dropped a bit low as the Lulu ult comes across. The flash follow, but he heals back up with the red ulti. Closer still wants in. Flash comes in, and they will get the rest of the damage. Finally, 1 kill on the board for 100 Thieves. Herald still gets rid of 2 plates in the bot lane.
Man, that double exhaust looks so annoying for FBI there. Flashing in to try to finish off a no HP Gumayusi, but he gets exhausted. The red gun ult comes through. Faker, though, never matched the play, just decided to stay mid, look for the push. So 100 Thieves do get a kill. They do force all the summoners there off Gumayusi, so we'll see if there can be any sort of a repeat play to try to punish. But Someday now has used his DP, and it was back towards top, so there will be a significant window for T1 where they're going to have TP advantage.
And we're going to see here, going back into the replay, 100 Thieves did move first. Faker did start to hover down, but decided not to in the end. We saw the first exhaust. This is what Azale was talking about, though. Second exhaust
so
comes
annoying.
out. Can't get anything done. The red ult comes out from Gumayusi, but we do see Closer follow through with the flash to continue with the kill. Faker maybe not thinking he can follow through and save Gumayusi. I think he would have been able to with, the circumstances of the second exhaust and the red ult, but that is something that's very hard to predict.
It is, and it's one of those things where you know for sure you will get an advantage if you just push out mid lane and you take down some tower plates. You can see there's already 2 tower plates being taken off mid. There's 1 being taken off top. 3, almost 4 were taken on bot. So that is a significant amount of additional gold that T1 has farmed from these turrets early on in the game, and 100 Thieves on the back foot pretty heavily.
I also think you made a really good point about and now the TP is going to come up for Kana, and now you have this big window as T1 where you have TP advantage top, you have the Destiny, you have so much of a window to make a play, and all you lost for it was, okay, Gumayusi did die. So I think this is now T1's turn, but 100 Thieves once again being the aggressors.
Oh, misses the chain again. Owner just sidestepping it, but maybe find a pillar. Keep in mind, Gumayusi
available on
flashless.
Yeah, here it is.
Gonna flash the bubble, and here comes Faker. Here comes Owner for the stun, and that's gonna be 1 easily. Kana looking for a bit more. Finds a second kill. A solo onto the Nami. Nowhere for the Trundle to go either. Closer has some stats for now. Ulti gonna land. That's gonna be a root onto Abadaga as Owner shows up for kill number 3 and 4. Gets rid of a clone. Okay, fine. Just the 3 kills picked up. Someday and managed to walk down to mid to catch a wave. The first dragon of the game now to be claimed.
I mean, T1 just massive lead now, but for 100 Thieves, come on, that's basics. Tracking TP timers there. You had to know that the Kennen was going to have the teleport soon. They didn't know kind of precursor to that play. They didn't sweep out any wards on the side brushes to know that they could make it. And if you don't know for sure that there's no wards behind you, when they overcommit on that, it's so dangerous. And Kana just eviscerates them off the play. Now has a huge buyback to base already. Sork's Oblivion Orb plus the Rocket Belt completed. And we can see it again in the new Axe Effect replay. Once 100 Thieves are committed, it's that lane ward that is going to punish you every single time. Faker has the ulti. Someday was moving down, but you can't go for this play unless the Croc's already here.
Exactly. It's just like it was a bit of a timing problem. I get why they went for it when they did, for the fact that, okay, well, your jungler just went mid, you got the prio, this is when the timer's to walk down. But like you're saying, I mean, you're just running into a man advantage for the side of 100 Thieves. Kennen ult, of course, is going to be able to be up for the play. Faker will always be able to follow. Just like a massive flop coming out from 100 Thieves.
No, absolutely. I mean, they knew that the TP timers were not at the same timing there. Somebody used the very late TP. So Kana able to really punish them here, and now 100 Thieves really on the precipice of just being out of this game entirely. 5K down already. Looks like they want to try to force this Herald, but T1 are moving up to contest.
Slow into Owner. A chance to knock down this Rift Herald for some damage onto a turret waiting for the eye to be popped. And it won't quite be in smite range. Smite fight, and it is going to Owner. Thank you very much for the leash.
Oh, Kana has flash ulti.
Yep, finds a stun. Big damage on the close. And needs his ulti come off now, but it's already deletion. Who he is gone. The rest of the bot lane already dead. Closer limping away with the split of the health, but it's just everyone dying. Owner's on a killing spree. Faker spots it. Closer. Yeah, sorry, buddy. You are dying here as well. 4-0 on the fight, and T1 are slaughtering.
And overall, I feel like it's just been everything across the board for T1. Really nice early game pathing coming out from Owner. Nice early game plays. I love the draft overall. And the team fighting as well has been on point as Abadaga not going to get away.
Faker going to heal in for the gold card to get into range. Abadaga going to go for the guesswork. Sorry, buddy. This time they found it out, and that's going to be him dropping. So mid lane tier 2 also going to drop. Thank you, second Rift Herald 3 turrets to 0, 9 kills to 1, 1 dragon to nothing. Practically a perfect game against 100 Thieves.
Yeah, this is just an absolute blasting at this point. T1 got the early advantage on the bot side. You know, that gave them the early lead. Superior laning, farmed the plates from 100 Thieves, and then that bottom lane TP from Kana felt like it pretty much all but secured it. But if that didn't secure it, the top lane Herald certainly did.
And I feel like coming into this match, right, I think we all knew T1 were favorites, but we were holding out hope that 100 Thieves would have been able to put up a better fight.
So yes, indeed, Genius Monster, Keria has the exact same birthday buff that Arya had, where in his home country of Korea, it is already tomorrow, and he has 21, I believe, his age. I have the notes, but they're not open in front of me right now. Either way, happy birthday. One thing I want to point out about T1 as well, as they are crushing this game, is as an org, their scouting is ridiculously good. So Faker, we all know, has been on T1 forever. 2013, when his career started, his 9th year on the team. Yeah, great. Kana, Owner, and Gumayushi all started in a trainee or academy program or straight out of solo queue. T1 scouted all 3 of them. Keria, in his 2nd year, has now gone over to T1s. Okay, he technically, you know, there is footage already, but T1 scouted the rest of this team by themselves, and here they are, back at Worlds.
Ooh, Faker did not scout out this play coming out from 100 Thieves, though.
Good stun, good damage, flash, maybe to safety, not closers here. Big shutdown on the Trundle, so a bit of gold back in the pockets, but it's still fighting down a nearly 9,000 gold difference.
Yeah, it's a moral victory, you know. You killed Faker at least. Got something going for you.
You know, oh, actually T1 now wanting to make a brush play of their own, but 100 Thieves know they're not going to walk into this one. All of their members are topside. They know T1 has to be on the bottom half of the map. Yeah. But talking about scouting for T1, it's not only right their own roster, but the players that have gone to other teams as well. Even we just watched EDG scout, of course, coming from that organization. Definitely historic with the players that they have been able to bring up.
It's also interesting because they're one of the few top teams over the years that has consistently utilized subs. You know, a lot of teams really only use subs in kind of like emergency situations, but T1 has aggressively done it for years and years and years. You think of like even the Easy Hoon situation. You think of you know, like Cuz, and you think of Teddy and all the different people that they have actually swapped through. And Faker didn't even start all the games this year, and they have done this consistently year after year. You know, experimenting, trying different players, utilizing this multi-man system. I think both to try to have, you know, both aspects of it where you're learning from your sub, you're helping each other, pushing each other, and it is very successful for them.
You know, it's actually incredible, the foresight T1 have had, because it's another game where T1's here and Closer loses. You know, when he was a mid lane sub, Closer lost. Now against him, Closer's losing. It's just incredible the kind of things that T1 puts in the universe. And now 9-2 on 2 Dragons, looking to make it a win here.
Yeah, T1 looks like they're going to aggressively push on the map after taking everything right. Right now, Gumayushi getting his red buff. We see Faker pushing out on top side, but they can look to aggressively collapse on the mid lane because Faker does have the Destiny, and...
Yeah, I mean, for 100 Thieves, your only recourse in this game is you overload a lane and you try to find a pick, right? So I think they're going to try to attack the global. They're going to look for Faker every time he shows inside lane. You can see that who he is up here. They want to try to find 2v1, 3v1 type plays, and they may have found Faker again, but we'll have to retreat.
Yep, not going to go for anyone on that one. Actually, T1 now going to be the aggressors.
Well, they'll be able to hide under the turret, though, so... Destiny comes off, and it doesn't turn into anything more than just a faster rotation into the western jungle. Ready to siege yet another turret, nearly crushing that 10,000 gold difference. Someday, nearly another turret. He's dead to this. Ulti, big stun, big heal. Gore Drinker not going to be enough. Kana went for early grievous wounds that made the difference, and down goes Someday.
Man, I mean, he is just so fed. 2.5 items, didn't even need to use the stopwatch there. Solo kills Someday under the inhibitor tower. 21 minutes in, that inhib tower will fall. Nowhere is safe on the map for 100 Thieves.
I mean, Kana even saw his TP as well if he wanted to like back, and T1 still wanted to make plays towards the top side though. Looks like all of them actually want to go for resets. They probably are sitting on a little bit of gold, making their way onto that 2-item mark. As you said, Kana already much past that with the Oblivion Orb as well. I would love to see T1 go for some more aggressive plays. You know, not only the 1v1s, because that was pretty aggressive coming out from Kana, but again, look for a Baron bait, look to use that Destiny Gate, maybe find some picks on the top side. Not only those faster rotations, which, let's be fair, is always what the LCK was known for back in the day, so I still did respect it coming out from Faker.
And now we see how long it takes him to close the game out. Question kind of has been for T1. Their early games have been outstanding. Their mid games have been the weaker of what they do. They are obviously such a very good team. Went all the way to the LCK finals here in summer. To me, I consider them the second seed from Korea. Technically, they are third because Gen.G went on championship points. T1 won the sort of championship qualifier to take the third seed, to not have to go through play-ins. Regardless, a very, very good team, and looking at a very early Baron now, 23 minutes in.
I mean, they're the only team to have actually taken a game off Damwon in playoffs over the last 3 splits, I guess it is, where Damwon has won back-to-back-to-back titles. They did challenge them in the finals this year and did push them pretty hard. 100 Thieves trying to contest here, but it's just
he gets the Baron, but is it going to be much more? A clutch smite to be sure. However, it's still 1 kill picked up. Faker finds a tidal wave. Kana sidesteps and doesn't find his way in for a slicing maelstrom. So, if somehow 100 Thieves can keep from losing anything more, they get at least to claim the Baron buff and buy a little bit of time.
That was a fantastic smite from Closer, but T1 had no business letting him he just walked in there and smote it away from Owner. Beautiful play from Closer, but Owner not even using the ulti to reject him. T1 could have just turned before.
You have, like, cannon stuns. There's so much available to go for.
He stuns someday. Bro, you had vision. Click the other guy.
I mean, great job by Closer. Does get it, but T1 definitely could have done a much better job preventing that.
You know, I forgive him. It's rookie nerves for Faker. You know, he hasn't been at Worlds in a while. So, you know, we give him the
I'm just saying,
pass.
hasn't been on Worlds since, you know, they've been T1, so I'll give it an acceptable pass. And
Rookie team.
New team here at Worlds. And, you know, you did also just say, Freak, a team much more known for their early game as compared to these later decisions.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of practice to know to stun the jungler outside the pit, so I forgive him. You know, it's the kind of stuff where, you know, it's happened before, so.
Look at this Chad Poppy build, by the way.
Yeah.
Just straight up going for the damage.
It's good.
It is actually really good, especially if you have a strong early game, you know, and you are ahead of the pace of the game, which he was, you know, and against a lot of these squishy targets, really can threaten them. And just pure tank builds are just weakened quite a bit when you're playing against a Trundle. So I think it's pretty smart, makes a lot of sense, and they are going to have a tremendous amount of burst on this team.
Ooh, I like what 100 Thieves are going for.
Can he sidestep the chain? He's done it so many times. Finally, this one will land. Does not have a stopwatch. This should allow the follow-through, but they can't get the rest of it. The tidal wave not there in time, and Kana, I've seen this battle before, and it's gone the way of T1. Owner here to make it even easier. Someday can barely tag some minions, despite the Baron buff, despite it being plus 1,000 gold for Red Bull Baron power play. It's been T1. Connie gonna take some damage, has to burn the Zonias. Ulti onto 3 is a big root, and that might be the team fight. FBI gotta cleanse and run away. Inhibitor still going to fall. Now, will they find a battle here? Owner down to only 1,000 health, but able to walk away cleanly. Third dragon ready to be killed, and that will put T1 on Soul Point on pace for a 31-minute Ocean Soul.
I feel like a big thing as well, right? A lot of ultimates blown by T1. I'm still gonna be able to get this. 100 Thieves not gonna be able to match in time. I like 100 Thieves looking for that topside play. It goes back to what you were hitting on earlier, Zil, about still trying to like overload one side of the map. Doesn't matter that they have Baron, they are still behind and still need to look for those plays. But T1 are at least able to answer with an inhibitor in that time. You know, will be more minions for 100 Thieves to pick up and try and close that gold lead, but now we're on a timer, 5 minutes, T1 gets Soul.
Yep, they're going to be looking towards Soul, and before that, I think they're just going to start Baron again and try to just do a little bit of a better job keeping Closer away from it this time around. And when you're this far ahead, they also have a very good turn as long as you set up the vision denial. And you can go over to the Baron pretty early here. Just try to kind of set up, you know, this area where you're cutting out T1's vision, or rather cutting out 100 Thieves' vision. And as T1, you can then utilize flanks, utilize positioning from the cannon with deep wards to get a TP flank or anything like that. And if you find a decent engage, it just lights out for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, and I feel like especially now with T1, right, you have Kana on those perfect cannon items with the fact that he also does have the Zonias and the Void Staff in there, so he's going to be doing a ton of damage. Abba realizing what he needs to look for, just kind of weaving in and out of these fights, trying to hit a chain and set something up. But I don't really think they should have the opportunity, but I look wrong.
Cannot get over the wall, so they're going to have a hard time joining Someday here. Wants to stun Owner. Decent damage. Stopwatch burn Faker here, but not a lot of damage out of him either. Owner going to get back to safety to the rubble of his turret. As
here comes Kennen.
And Kennen, yes, Someday has to mark it, but he can't find the stun. The flash is too soon. Kana plays it beautifully, kills off 2, and Sunday is gonna be next. Gets a heal, it's not gonna matter, and it's time for T1 to march into the 100 Thieves base.
Yeah, Kana coming out so big. 100 Thieves trying to find the pick, but T1 just keep pulling off such insane games. Individually, looking super good here today.
Kana is just playing out of his mind in this one on the cannon, destroying 100 Thieves. They're pushing in through top. They'll grab another inhibitor. Supers are already on the Nexus towers, but T1, they're gonna make it painful. They don't want to end.
Nope. Go shop one more time. Look, the respawns are coming in. They want the extra gold. Maybe they go for the Dragon, so maybe they go for Baron in 1 minute's time. 100 Thieves, they lose a Nexus turret to just minions. That's how far behind. They can't clear the waves in time.
And now it's also just really easy for T1 with what to do, right? I mean, you have supers in both side lanes. You could just group mid, put the siege down. 100 Thieves are the one who are forced to look for some aggressive play onto you.
You got some options. Option number 1. 8-click towards the enemy Nexus. I think that one's going to work when you're at this point. You don't actually need any other options. We'll just give it to that one. But we can see Kana lighting him up here. He gets in behind. And 100 Thieves, once you're on the retreat, if you don't get an initial kill, the gold lead is just way too much. Like you have to try to burst someone down 100-0. Otherwise, you got no chance at all.
You know, as the LPL caster watching the LCK versus LCS game, this gold lead.
Decent damage on a carry. They find one
they
for
got it.
nothing. Kana gets a stun onto the 2 frontliners as it is going to be Trundle dropping. It's a 4v4 doable. Gumayushi, he gale forces forwards and just finds himself the kill as the FBI try to open up but gets shut down instead. Huhi going to drop and Faker finds the kill onto Huhi. It's time to get away from this one. It's time for T1 to march straight down the mid lane.
You know, 100 Thieves did everything they did with so much confidence. I kept believing they could bring it back, but T1 are just too far ahead. They have the death timers. They're going to be able to just push into the base and look for the close.
Somehow a 2v4 defense has to happen as Carrier respawns inside the fountain. The stun to Abadaga. Faker a little bit low. Owner in there as well. Doesn't quite find the kill, but Gumayushi going to find himself the turret. And now the Nexus is open. The Nexus will drop. And T1 in under 30 minutes take down their primary competition and are in control of second place so far in the group.
Well played game by T1. Pretty easy for them. They made it look. Winning on that bottom side, I really do think dismantled a lot of what 100 Thieves wanted to do here. Highly prioritizing this Lucian Nami. They first picked the Lucian. They had to blind top, so some